All right, listen, this is not a drill. We have a real life ghost story from a follower called Claire. Thank you so much for sending this in, Claire. When I read it, I was just like, what? I'm going to read this word for word, and I cannot wait. You're going to love it. Let's just start by saying Claire said this is 100% true. There's no BS here, and I believe her. Claire starts by saying that on the 3rd of August, 17 and a half years ago, she met her partner. Another important note is the 14th of August is her birthday, her 30th birthday. So she'd known him for 11 days at this point, and they decide to spend the day together. She said, we went to London and we did everything. We did the river cruise, we did the theatre show, all of it. So on the 14th of August, at the end of that day, she decided to stay at his flat. And she said that he was in a flat share, so there was no photos on the walls, there was no like personal effects anywhere, no pictures of family, just a room and a shared communal space. Just going to point out here, Claire, I thought that you were going to allude to the fact that he was a serial killer in this. I'm glad he's not. I should probably tell you at this point that this guy's name is Tim. Claire says the next day, on the 15th of August, Tim had to go to work and said that she could stay at his flat because nobody else was home. This is where it takes a turn. She said she chilled out and eventually fell asleep on a giant beanbag. It sounds brilliant. She had an afternoon nap, but then she had this crazy dream. So in her dream, the doorbell rings to his flat and she is nervous to answer because it's not her place. And in front of her stood an old woman, a short old woman. She says to Claire, "Where is Tim? I want to see Tim. He never came to see me, so I guess I have to come here." So Claire said, "Tim is at work. Who are you?" And the short lady replies, "It doesn't matter who I am. He never came to see me. He always comes to see me." And she was mad as hell. Claire says, "I don't know who you are, but I can phone him and tell him to come home." The short lady barged past Claire and said, "No, I will just wait here for him to come." Claire says, "You can't just barge past me. This isn't my flat." And the short lady sat in absolute silence on the sofa. So Claire wakes up and in real time it's 6 p.m. now and Tim comes home from work. And she says, "I had this overwhelming urge to tell him about this dream. All about the woman, about her clothes, her attitude and her being really angry." But in her head she's thinking, I've only known this guy 11 days. Like, do I tell him? She said she knew she had to, so she started telling him about this dream, about the angry old woman who knocked on the door and the fact that he normally goes to see her but he didn't. And she was angry and just wouldn't tell me who she was. Claire says, "I described absolutely everything about her. I could recall her tights, her shoes, her bag, her coat, and this weird hat." So, Tim says, "That sounds like my mother." Oh my God. Claire says she started to freak out. "What do you mean your mother? What the actual fuck?" Her exact words written here. Tim then goes on to say, "I go to her grave every single year on the anniversary of her death, but I didn't go this year. This is the first year I didn't go." So Claire says to Tim, "Why didn't you go?" And he said, "Because she died on your birthday, the 14th of August. I was with you all day." Wah! He then goes to find a photo of his mother and it is her. Claire says it was her. She says the very next day we drove to visit her grave, and rightly so, she was mad. Claire said, and there it was, died 14th of August. She said she cried like she never cried before. And she expected Tim to dump her, but he believed her. And now after 17 and a half years, they are married. They got married last Saturday. How amazing is that? Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for the story. It's perfect. I love it. If you've got a ghost story, then please send it to me. Message me on here or email me, thedarklingchronicles25@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again, Claire, and follow for more.